Good morning, friends. Gail Manasak here. Um, we are on part 4 of Life Must Have Purpose. Amen. You know, we teach little children that choices have consequences. We teach them that. And this is one of life's fundamental truths. Our choices have consequences, whether they're good or whether they're bad. We all know that. Us the children have to be taught, of course, but us adults know that. Adults often adopt the temporary, say, insanity of imaging that our choices will have the consequences that we intend. That is temporary insanity, because the consequences are going to be whether the situation was a good situation or a bad situation. But in the unintended consequences of our choices, those are the consequences that often wreak havoc in our lives and the lives of other people around us, the very ones actually that we love. So our choices have consequences, and we know that. But even at that, even at knowing that, we throw this truth aside in order to deny the consequences of our unholy choices, our unholy moments. But even though we deny that our choices still have consequences, we can deny it all we want, there's still going to be consequences. So we, at our own discretion, abandon our power to create the good and the precious and holy moments. We do. We choose at our own discretion. And then we render ourselves spiritually important at the moment, and sometimes pay a high price. For what? For that selfishness and the pride, the prideful thinking that we're having right then. When we teach our children that choices have consequences, the emphasis is usually placed on the consequences of poor choices, while the powerful and the positive consequences of wise choices are often overlooked, of which actually should be the choices that are brought out of the most importance to our lives. And isn't that how it is in life, though? Just, like little children, when they do bad, they really get scolded for it. Amen. Though they really, it could get loud. It could get it could be made known for sure. But then when they do something good, many times that is quietly spoken of or overlooked altogether. And that is just, it's not right. It's definitely not holy. So, but it's our choices. Are we going to, we should always make a much more big deal out of our child doing something great, or our friend or our sister or mother, brother, whoever, doing something good for someone, than correcting someone because they did something that we didn't like, or it wasn't a positive, thing or whatever. So when we choose God's ways, though, God's choices with powerful and positive consequences, the choices become easy to live with. Amen. So it's time for us to start filling our lives with God, to begin filling our lives with the promises of God. If you've glanced back at your life, the choices that you find hardest to live with, take a good look at those. They were not good God choices, but your choices. They were your choices, whether they were good or bad. And you have to forgive yourself for those bad choices, but learn from looking back at those choices that you didn't take time to think about, or you didn't make the right choice over. And then the choices that we find easiest to live with, these we are proud of, those are the choices that we really cherish. They each hold the seed of goodness for our lives. They each hold the seed of goodness for our whole family's lives. So, decision making is a powerful force in our life. Our decisions shape our lives. We want to make holy decisions, even though we're not maybe thinking of it in that perspective when we're young and we don't know any better, but we can learn wisdom as we go. Amen. We can learn what is good and what is not good for us and our families as we go. We can make the future of our lives good or bad with our choices. The wonderful thing about choices is that we have more to make in the future. Amen. So, looking back, maybe you've made some bad choices, but looking towards the future, you can choose to make better choices. You can have better outcomes and better consequences. So, choices got you where you are right now. And if you don't like right where you are right now, right here, all you need to do is start making different choices. It is really that simple. Giving it some thought, praying for wisdom. Your choices have power. Look at it this way: if someone has power and they use it, it's used for evil, that would be a horrible thing. But what about if someone has an incredible power and didn't use it for good, or did use it for good? There's something tragic with not using it for good and something wrong about that. All of us can see that as we just give it some thought. But let me tell you that someone is you. You possess an incredible power, that you can choose the very power of God, that you can choose what is good, that you can choose what is holy, or you can choose what is unholy and destructive. Your choices definitely have power. And I'm going to leave off with that thought. Your choices have power. Think about that. Looking back is not going to help you, that's already behind you. But looking back, you can see the consequences and the poor choices you've made, and you can determine within yourself to make better choices. So especially as you're praying to the Lord, asking for wisdom to make better choices for your future, for yourself and for your family. So I'll close here. And tomorrow, or maybe this afternoon even, I will complete uh, part 5 of this session on making good choices, making holy moments. And it will complete this encouragement in regard to making those moments that are holy instead of unholy moments for your life. This is just an encouragement. It's not, I'm not trying to scold anybody, just show the difference between the power that we have and use or don't use. Maybe I could put it that way. And in saying that, I'm going to close. I think I will go ahead and do part 5 and complete this.